Onimusha Warlords is a 2001 action game with a sprinkling of survival horror developed by Capcom that has you fighting your way through a Japanese castle against hordes of demons. And it's pretty awesome. Now I'll admit that I haven't actually played this series before, which is pretty surprising, seeing as how combining Resident Evil with Samurai sounds like something that was tailor-made for me. So I'm glad that Capcom decided to re-release it in 2019. Is this them testing the waters to see if the series is still popular or not, and whether it would be worth making more Onimusha? Who knows. But as far as this re-release goes, not a lot has changed. Don't expect another full remake here. Instead, there's slight graphical and control improvements, the chance to play it in a 16:9 aspect ratio rather than the original 4:3. There's trophies, but that's about it, and that's fine by me. I wish more developers would just re-release their older games onto modern day consoles, even if they don't change or add much, just so we can get an easy way to play some of their classics again.
Men! Fight and die with honor!
The story here is about as cliche as you can get in a video game, with a bad guy kidnapping a princess and putting her in a castle, so it's up to our hero to save her. But it does inject some much needed personality into things with the use of the feudal Japanese setting. Whether that means historical battles and characters get introduced, or old Japanese myth and folklore is told, adding a slight goofiness to the affair, it makes its world a much more interesting place to be in. The bulk of the gameplay has you fighting your way through the castle and its grounds, trying to find keys or level up enough to move on to the next area. Killing things releases their souls, which you can suck up by pressing a button, and then use these souls to level up your swords, as well as unlock certain doors. It's all very basic stuff, and it's not a particularly challenging game, but there's something very satisfying about it. The combat's button mashy with the odd block and special move thrown in, but with the great sound effects, and the sprays of blood, it never really feels monotonous. There are a few sections when you play as this female ninja called Kada, where killing demons doesn't earn you XP, basically not rewarding you for fighting. It makes you want to just skip enemies during these parts as much as possible, because what's the point in killing them? You're only going to risk getting hurt and wasting medical supplies. So these parts are a little less rewarding to play through than the main chunk of the game, but still fun. Some of the areas that you get to explore still look really impressive, even to this day, with those detailed, painted looking backgrounds. You can certainly tell that this came from the same developers that brought us Resident Evil, and I don't just mean because there's green herbs in it. The camera automatically switches around like a Resident Evil game does, and it's got that same kind of atmosphere. The music really sets the tone for each area, whether it's a subtle spooky tune, to more cinematic stuff, to the classic no music areas that let the sounds of the wind and the night put you on edge as to what's coming next. Every room and corridor is filled with dead bodies, as well as a nice variety of different demons to fight, really playing up the horror element. In fact, it seems like every 10 minutes or so a new type of enemy gets introduced. The voice acting's still not great, in English at least. I quickly switched it to Japanese with subtitles, seeing as how it's set in Japan, and that seemed to be fine. It's not a long game. My first playthrough took me just over 3 hours, and keep in mind that I've never played this game before. By the way, there's a trophy for doing it in under 3 hours, so that was a little annoying. But if you played this back in the day, then it's still worth going back to. It's held up pretty well, and if like me you've never played it before and aren't put off by the older graphics, then this one comes highly recommended. Until next time, thanks for watching.